Hey guys, Monk here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Tribes of Midgard tier list for the classes. Keep in mind this game just came out about 2 weeks ago, so the classes are subject to balance changes, things like that, additions. So as additions are made to the game, I will make adjustments to this tier list for you guys. Another thing to keep in mind is that tier lists are mostly for fun. In a game like this, there is no objective best character. A lot of it is based on opinions and your playstyle and how you enjoy the game. So keep in mind this is really just for fun, and you can speculate if there's hidden OP classes or classes that you just don't think are very strong. The first time I tried making this video, it lasted 30 minutes on accident, so I'm going to try to get this done a little bit quicker. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that the classes in this game have these icons that associate a gender to them, but obviously it can go either way. I just use the gender pronouns associated with their image here, generally speaking. So just keep that in mind. So how are these characters going to be graded? So we're going to look at a few things. The two main things, or I guess three, is the first thing is what do these classes offer to themselves? You know, selfishness, like if you're in a solo run. The next thing is what do these classes offer to a group? And lastly, how valuable are these things that they offer, either to the group or to the self? And then some smaller things like comparing, say, one DPS class to another DPS class, and what I call tree construction, which is basically how you go about the tree. Are there any steps along the way that aren't as useful when trying to reach your end game? So what we'll start with is Ranger. Ranger, in my opinion, is a AB hover, and I would probably say, but this is a bit of a personal bias, this is my most played character, I would put him into A tier. Now, Ranger, forgive me, belongs in A tier in my opinion because his DPS gets really insane late game. He is a bit of a resource hog, and that's what keeps him out of S tier. So for example, if you have people that are all trying to run bows, all trying to go Ranger, Ranger is going to get worse. The more people the more people you have that want to use bows, the worse Ranger gets. Because arrows in this game currently, and again, I think this is something they're going to be reworking in the near future, but right now as it stands, Ranger is weaker the more there are of him. So if you have one player playing Ranger who's getting all the arrows, then you're in business for a lot of good DPS. But if you have 2, 3, 4 people in a 10-man group trying to go Ranger and trying to utilize the bow and get all the special arrows, you're going to struggle a lot. So in my opinion, Ranger is one of the highest DPS characters. He just hogs a lot of resources, which is something we'll talk about in the future when we get into Warrior, the next class we're going to be covering. So you start with Olor's Step, which is a solid ability. Creates distance, a lot of distance. Knocks you back and knocks the enemy back. Good. You get movement speed. You get two solid elemental specialities. I will generally go here, up into here. But the most important thing for Ranger is going to be Deep Quiver. You're going to want to get this as soon as humanly possible, because this means that your special arrows are going to have a 50% chance to refund, which is huge. It means this pretty much skyrockets your DPS. There is nothing more valuable than this in this whole kit, in my opinion. This starts to become a little less useful as the game goes on. This is helpful. Raven's Eye is nice, movement speed is nice, weapon durability is nice, charge shot, all the good stuff. But Deep Quiver is your ultimate endgame blessing, and you don't want to take on any kind of bosses without it, except for obviously like the first Jotun. That's about it though. Once you have Deep Quiver, this class becomes extremely strong. It goes from like B tier to S tier. But obviously, because of the resources that Ranger hogs, I would still say that it just keeps him in a humble A tier, and if you really don't like the bows in this game, it's a B tier, because the bows do have a lot of weird niches that just don't feel very good to play. So next we're going on to the Warrior. Now the Warrior, in my opinion, is just obvious, clean S tier. There is no debate. Warrior has just some of the strongest blessings in the game, starting with, hey, straight up damage. This is just more mana, which is straight up damage. More straight up damage. More mana, which equals damage. More mana, which equals damage. The ability to become invincible when rolling, so iframes. A self-res. Any weapon mastery you decide you want. Fall damage. Armor durability, which I think is not that great, whatever. Just invest fully into any kind of damage you can get, and Warrior is bonkers. This class is extremely good. I would say the best DPS class in the game. And what differentiates him from his starter class counterpart, the Ranger, which we just went over, is that he requires almost no resources. Get him the solid lightning axe, and you're done. Decent armor, you're done. This class is some of the highest value for pretty much no effort, and that's why I think Warrior is for sure absolutely S class. Next, we're going to Guardian, who I also believe is S class. Guardian is the best tank, for sure, no doubt. He has solid damage, solid taunt. He can keep enemies away from your allies, which is really valuable. But also, he's not just a tank. He's a bit of a bruiser. He just does a ton of damage, great durability, laws of attraction, and the taunt. There's laws of attraction, huge damage. Just this class is crazy. I highly recommend him if you kind of don't know what you're looking for in a class. I would say give Guardian a solid try. I mean, just look at this. Ironclad 1 and 2 gives you just a straight health buff. Shield durability, pain release, huge stun, huge damage. Basically a stun, huge damage. A taunt. I mean, this class has it all for anyone who loves tanking. But honestly, anyone who just loves fighting. Obviously, if you want, you can use defensive pillar, toss your shield up, perma block everything. That's extremely strong. But if you're just looking to fight, I mean, Guardian is a great option. As long as you're willing to pop that shield up every once in a while, help your team out. Guardian is just great. Best tank in the game for sure. Almost everything he has here has value. And his tree is very well built, meaning that there isn't a lot on the way that hurts. You can get to Ironclad really easily. You can get to Defensive Pillar. All these things, it's really easy. Really, really easy. One of the strongest builds for Guardian, I would say, is getting the Lightning Axe, getting into Defensive Pillar, and Refuse Judgment, and basically spam your heal and become a bit of a Paladin. So Guardian has tank abilities, Paladin ability, DPS ability, to be honest. So Guardian is extremely versatile, and what might seem like a boring tank class, once you start playing him, you'll see the potential that this class has for sure. Absolutely. So Guardian S tier, no doubt. Next is going to be Seer. S tier, no doubt also. Seer is absolutely bonkers and has, in my opinion, one of the best tree structures in the game. So we'll talk about it real quick. What is tree structure, right? So skill tree structure is essentially your ability to go to one blessing from another, each level up, without losing any value. Seer does not lose value at all, except for arguably on fast revive. So you start here with your seedling, 10% chance to deploy the seedling. It's a little AoE seedling that heals you and your teammates. Awesome, great. 10% chance to spawn it. That seems a little low, but you have to understand. So he has weakening do, so he's attacking a lot. He reduces the enemy's damage and the resistances. Absolutely strong. Now we look at, he has 2. This is like some of the only attack speed upgrading in the game in blessings. So yeah, 10% seems low. Once you have 20% attack speed, you're increasing that likelihood a whole lot. And then he gets Thunder Embrace, and as we know, lightning is the best element in the game as of the release of this video. So there's no lack, and weapon durability is always great. So there's no lack of value here. This entire tree has value. And then you can slide right over to Tempered, which makes you immune to weather conditions. And you don't have to touch any of this if you don't want to. See how there's nothing in the middle here that blocks your way to Tempered? That's what I mean by tree value, is everything you get has value. So usually what I'll go is everything up here almost, grab Tempered, and then go down here a little bit to Fast Revive, which is solid. It's really good. Obviously, if you don't have any teammates, or you're not really worried about the NPCs dying, this isn't as good, but it's still a 1-second res, which is extremely valuable. But arguably not as valuable as these two, which is the roots, which basically your little sapling thing will root enemies as they walk into it and heal you. It's extremely strong. This Seer is absolutely bonkers. One of the best solo classes, and he's just a solid like Paladin-esque support character, duelist. He does everything. He does everything really well. And I strongly recommend them, especially with Tempered. It makes him a great scout, which you wouldn't think at first, but Seer basically does everything with his kit. There's nothing he can't do, and that's awesome. That's really good. Especially because he's one of the harder characters to unlock in the game. So next up is going to be, unfortunately, the Hunter. So the Hunter is going to be the only, I'll tell you right now, it's the only class in C tier, and the lowest class character in the game. Or the lowest tier character in the game, which is unfortunate. But let's get started. So looking at 40% chance to deploy Dukely when rolling, it should be 100% to be honest, or it should have an internal cooldown. It's just very lackluster. For sometimes you really need that decoy and you don't get it and you die, and that's unfortunate. That sucks. Hunter is labeled as kind of like an explorer and a gatherer. So you have a bountiful grasp, but this harvesting plants and animals is good and all, but a lot of that doesn't have very much value. The plants maybe, but the stuff from animals, not so much. Um, durable tools, in my opinion, is kind of not very great, considering it's not very expensive to repair in this game, and the tools won't often break. Um, Foreshadow's okay, but you can just kind of just walk on the paths, as you move faster on the paths, and the paths lead to almost everything. That makes Sharp Eyes 1 and 2, and Foreshadow just not that great in general, but still okay, especially for newer players, right? But Hunter also is very difficult to unlock, so it's unlikely that newer players will be able to get access to her quickly. Recall Totem's solid though. Recall Totem's not bad. Basically, you die and respawn at the totem. It's a good ability. It's actually one of the better parts of Hunter's kit. Next is more traps. Traps are not very valuable, therefore this skill isn't valuable. And unfortunately, that's on the way to bow mastery, which I would run Hunter with a bow. Unfortunately, it's just not very practical because you have to waste on trap stacker, which stinks a lot. This pushes enemies back. It's really not that great. Fire Mastery, Axe Mastery, Darkness Mastery, and you have to go through Darkness Mastery even if you're not using Darkness, which is another waste, unfortunately, to grab Sneak Activation, which means you activate chests and shrines faster. In my opinion, Sneak Activation needs to go before this. That way you can grab Sneak Activation earlier on in the game, because you have to understand, you hit level 2, you get this, level 3 you get this, level 4 you get this, level 5, assuming you don't want to go anywhere else here, which I'm assuming you do because you want Foreshadow. And because these are the early game exploring blessings, right? So Sneak Activation, you get it so late in the game that, dude, you're not going to be activating that many shrines or opening that many chests, to be honest, and it becomes a waste. Hunter's tree structure is just kind of garbage. A lot of the blessings are very low value. So that's why I consider Hunter to be C tier for sure, unfortunately. But I think she'll get some love, and as bows get buffed too, maybe she can get some love there as well. Alright, next Berserker, B tier. In terms of hidden potential, I think Berserker is the highest. I haven't played enough of Berserker to know for sure whether she has the potential to make it higher on the list. But in my opinion, Berserker has a very core weakness, which is unfortunate. And we have all this damage. We have Wrath, which is a lot of attacks, which feels really great to play with, by the way. The attack speed feels great. But everything else here is just damage, weapon durability, Fire Master, which is on the way, unfortunately, but the fire weapons are okay. So, I mean, this being on the way isn't the biggest deal. It's more that the fire weapons are harder to access in the early game, which is unfortunate. But, it's just one interrupting blessing, not the worst thing in the world. This is good for smaller enemies, pretty worthless against larger ones, and the ability to dodge stuns, in my opinion, isn't that great, to be honest. And Darkness is on the way, and if you don't want to run Darkness, then hey, you're screwed. Sorry. So yeah, the tree structure is subpar for sure, but the runes are pretty solid, or the blessings are pretty solid. So I don't mind that. My issue with Berserker is that, unlike Warrior and Guardian, Berserker doesn't have a way to stop herself from dying. Warrior has the invincibility roll. Guardian has his shielding. Berserker doesn't have any of that. And Berserker's going to want to probably run a hammer too. Obviously, Axe is fine as well, so you get the shield. But hammers in this game are also just very costly. So it's some things around the game, and some things in the class herself that just makes Berserker not very strong. I think Berserker had something similar to Guardian's Last Stand. The ability to keep her at low health without actually dying like everyone else. Because she has Infernal Rage, which gives you 25% more damage when under 25% HP. That's very high value, but it's, most giants are gonna kill you when you're at 25% HP with their next blow. And you only have so many health potions. So I think Berserker needs a small tuning, and then she's really, really, really good, for sure. But I'm going to keep her in B tier for now. Next is going to have to be Sentinel. I think Sentinel's an A tier character, if not just lower A, upper B. But I'll put him in A. So for me, Sentinel is really, really, really unique. He's a bit of a paladin, pretty strong. He has passive health regen. He gives armor to your allies. Extremely good. Extremely good. This is really good because it's easy to pop your shield up real quick, and it gives it to the allies. Very low effort. And a solid skill tree as well. The shield toss is like a Captain America shield. You can bounce it around up to 3 people. Extremely strong. And Thunder Embrace is right here too. So that's awesome. You can grab that right away without having to get anything in the way. And this passive health regen is really solid. It's not as fast as you would think it is, but it's fast enough to be important. And there's a lot of downtime walking around in this game, so you'll be able to utilize it pretty well. And Shield Ring is great. You toss it around you, close range, it stuns everyone around you. These two abilities are nuts. And this parry is pretty okay. Critical barrier, awesome. Being able to block crits is really, really, really valuable actually. And more damage to stun targets with these two abilities, which stun. And shield durability, of course, and whatever weapon you decide you want to run. You're going to want to shield the sentinel, of course. My issue with sentinel is that as the game gets later and as you start fighting bigger targets like Fenrir, like Jotuns, sentinel's shield tosses become kind of not very good. You can't stun them, so basically that becomes useless, and these two become useless. These two buffs, and then along with that, there's no bouncing around or anything because it's just a single target. So Sentinel in the early mid, where you're clearing camps out, like Sentinel is one of the best early camp clearers. You got passive healing while you're walking around, toss the shield around, stun them, all that good stuff. Sentinel feels great. One thing that Sentinel offers, despite having a really lacking late game, is he feels extremely good to play. You have great combat flow. You're not just spamming M1 like on every other character. You're tossing your shield around, all that good stuff, and it feels a lot better. It feels a lot more organic, and you have much better combat flow. So if anything, Sentinel feels good to play, and that's what's important, and that's what's going to keep him in A tier. So last, we have the Warden. The Warden is, in my opinion, the best class in the game, purely because she kind of just does everything. And basically the game is built for Warden. So starting off, you have like a mobile Waystone. Extremely strong, good start. Then we start with Dwarven Maid, which nullifies your ability on your equipment. This is stupid. I don't know if I agree with this being in the game, but whatever. Basically, no durability for you on equipment, at least. So that's really strong. Nothing else really breaks in this game. Your armor will not break usually, shield usually not, stuff like that. So this is incredibly strong, and it saves you so many souls. Also, her tree structure is immaculate. It's literally perfect. You go down this line of strong things: Stairway to Asgard, infinite building, potion stacker, extra potions, and you can grab Thunder Embraces available. Any weapon you want right here, man. It's so good. Keeper's Hands, crafting cost, done. So you have warding crafting stuff. Then you can do it again. And then Haggler gives you 75% soul, like less, or basically you pay 75% for what you need to buy with souls, and you can sell it for 125%. I don't think that's exploitable. I think that doesn't exist, but maybe it is. I don't actually know. So yeah, this whole tree's absolutely bonkers. Having a lot of souls is really valuable. It lets you buy things that you don't have to farm them off of enemies, like for example Linhorn spikes or whatever you're looking for. So that's really high value. So I would say anything over here and anything down here is really good. Rejuvenate Return, this is very strong. This is very strong as well. Being able to return back to your base quicker is very, very strong. So yeah, Warden is a little bit more boring. Like when I was talking about Sentinel, he has better combat flow. Warden is boring, but it does everything so much better than everyone else. So it's boring, but you get to play the game at an accelerated pace, which means you get to have fun quicker, basically. You're kind of like the parent. You have all the resources, you can do everything, but it's just a little boring. There's not as much excitement out of it. So yeah, that's, in my opinion, what puts Warden for sure in S tier. Alright, that's going to wrap up the video. So we got Warrior, Guardian, Seer, Warden in S tier, Ranger, Sentinel in A tier, Berserker in B tier, and in C tier alone, unfortunately, is Hunter. Hopefully Hunter gets some love in the future. Alright, and that's going to wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, tier lists are subjective. These are my opinions. And things are subject to change. So as they change again, I'll be updating this tier list for you guys. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.